One day when we have women leadership training at our church, and our leader, women's leader, they saw that the big truck brought so many people in the truck, and then they followed that truck and they saw that when they released the people, they saw that some patients that cannot go anywhere and they do not have money for medical treatment. And some people, because they are from other places, so they do not know anyone that are living here, so they don't know where to go. And then it touched their hearts, and when they went back to Bangkok, they consulted about this with TBBC, and later on they started the safe house here.
Lulu got a phone call for 10 women who were Burmese women who were found on the Malaysian border who had HIV and some of them AIDS. The safe house physically doesn't have the room for that amount of people. However, we're full, yet Lulu thought up some strategies of where we could have an extra 2 people. It's not unusual, I've heard, for referrals to be coming from, far and wide in Thailand, but even in other countries, because it's one of a kind. I mean, this is the only safe house, the only safe place that provides long-term treatment, therapy, ongoing. There isn't anywhere else. The safe house has actually had over 1,500 people that have been part of the safe house and have either moved on to independence or been well enough to go back to family, or who have died. But one thing that we haven't captured is how many people have been referred that there isn't always room for.
So could you say, not to put words in your mouth, but in your own way, we provide long-term care and safety for people who wouldn't be able to get this elsewhere?
Yes, that's right.
Could you say something like that?
Yes, I mean like that.
She comes from Burma to Thailand because her husband is Karen soldier. He ran away from Burmese army, and the Karen army killed the husband.
My name's Ma Pugh, and in Karen, Na Wa. I'm 41 years old. I was born in 1969 at Yabon village. I'm Karen. I have 4 siblings. I finished 4th grade in Burma. In 1988, I married one of the soldiers of the KNU, Karen National Union. When I was 5 months pregnant, my husband was sent to the front. He was killed while fighting the Burmese soldiers. 5 months later, there was a war between Burmese and KNU in our area. My 18-year-old younger sister received a bullet during the war and died on the spot. So many of our villagers were injured and killed during that time. In 1994, my dad died of a stroke. After my dad passed away, our family did not have enough income, so my mom had to sell our house, property, and belongings. Our family was homeless. Also, after my dad died, the Burmese soldiers became aware of me and tried to arrest me. I didn't dare live in my village anymore. I left my daughter with my mom and fled to 3 Pagoda, and after that, to Thailand. I arrived in Thailand in 1996. I married my new husband in 1997. For 7 years we lived together and had 2 children. My husband likes to drink alcohol. Whenever he drank, he would torture and abuse me. When I learned that there was a women's group in Sanglaburi, I asked them to help me. But they did not send me to the safe house. They waited 6 months to make sure that my husband really tortured me. They sent me to the safe house when they knew that my husband really tortured me without any reason. A few years later, he came to the safe house often and promised me that he wouldn't abuse me anymore. For the sake of my children, I went back to live with them again. I lived with him for 1.5 years. One day he got drunk and stabbed my eyebrow with a knife. Fortunately, it didn't reach my eye. A nurse had to put in 4 stitches for my injury. Because of this, I came back to the safe house again on the 10th of April 2005. On the 26th of August 2005, when I went to the hospital for a blood test, I found out I was HIV positive. In May 2006, I went back to Burma and took my mom and my children to the safe house. 2 of my children and my 2 nieces and nephew are staying with Thara Mu Pa Lulu at the children's home. My mom is 75 years old and stays with me at the safe house. My eldest daughter was sent to Kanchanaburi to work. Now she's married. I still have one sister in Burma, but I can't contact her. I don't know where she is. Our family has no home or property. If we were not able to stay in the safe house, we would be in great trouble and my children could not get their education. Right now, because of the safe house, my family gets a place to live. I get free treatment, food, and my children can get a good education. I also learned sewing and weaving skills at the safe house. I can make some money and can buy the food for me and my mom. The safe house is really beneficial for the people who need help. I'm happy that the safe house has no discrimination about ethnicity or religion. The safe house assists all of the patients who have different types of diseases. I know that if there were no safe house, there would be no way for us to live.
Some people, they need long-term treatments, but they, at the hospital, it not has enough space for them, so that we keep them at the safe house and we teach them weaving training. We give them weaving training and we let them plant vegetables, and sometimes we talk together and play games together with them.
My name is Na Tun, or Mong Thun Tun, and I am from Yatown. I was born in 1979, and now I am 40 years old. My father died when I was 6 months old, and my grandparents took care of my mother, my 4 sisters, and I. Unfortunately, my mother died when I was in 2nd grade. All of my sisters were married, and so after my mother died, I went to live with my grandparents. When they got too old to take care of us, my uncle and auntie from Sangla came and took my grandparents, my 4 cousins, and me to Sanglaburi. We had to cross through many rivers and mountains, and on the way I got malaria. When I arrived in Sanglaburi, I was 10 years old, and we made our living as seasonal laborers. When I was 19 years old, I married a woman that my family had found. We loved each other and had 1 daughter, Ma Sun Win. Even though we were poor, we were happy because we understood each other and got along. Sadly, my daughter died when she was 1 year and 1 month old. I did not want to stay there and went to find a job in another place. When I came home, my relatives said bad things to my wife and blamed her for my daughter's death. I was young then and did not really know right from wrong, so I listened to my relatives. Since then, we have been separated. When I was 24 years old, my relatives introduced another woman to me. I married again and we had 2 sons. One day I got a job building a resort, but my boss did not allow me to do as I usually did. The other workers, because they did not have long enough electric wire, had to connect one to another, but they did not wrap the exposed joint with tape. At around noon, when I was going to lunch, I wrapped the wire around my hand and tried to lower myself to the floor. As I was lowering myself, the exposed part of the wire shocked me. I knew there was no way to escape, so I closed my eyes and let go. I fell about 8 meters and was knocked unconscious. And when I woke up, the doctor said my backbone was broken and he could not help me. So they sent me to Kanchanaburi Hospital. But when I arrived there, the doctor told me that my spinal cord had become curved. When I was in the hospital, my youngest son got sick and had convulsions, and so my wife had to take care of me and my 2 children. When I left, the doctor made me an appointment, but I did not go back because I did not want to trouble my wife. I was really disappointed with myself and sorry for my wife. I could not go anywhere and had to eat and go to the bathroom in my bed. One day, a Mon woman saw me and she arranged for me to come to the safe house. When I came to the safe house, my wife could not come and stay with me because she had to take care of our 2 children in our home. She came to visit me sometimes. The staff sent me to the hospital whenever necessary and gave me food so I got a bit better, but I heard my wife was unfaithful to me. I heard one of the men in our community came to her every night. That man is not a good man. I asked permission from Paul Lulu to go home, and when I arrived home, that man was with her. She no longer cared about me, so later on I sold my house and moved back to the safe house. If there is no safe house here, there is nowhere for me to go.
There is nowhere else for them to go, and by not having the safe house, they would have a very short lifespan because there is nowhere for them to go. And whether it's right or wrong, but in this climate of poverty and statelessness, etc., that when you're sick, you become a liability because people are struggling anyway to be able to find, enough food to look after their families. So you do become a liability. But the safe house means that these people are not a liability. What the safe house and the community is saying is that these are valuable people that, regardless of whether they can live independently, let's let them live with dignity and provide them with skills so that they can earn an income. There's some people that have chronic illnesses that, whilst it's small, but they can earn an income from weaving, which, provides satisfaction, which provides self-esteem, which provides quality of life.
Good.
Nó sẽ mà đi ăn nó